Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Flying and Eating. Today, let's go somewhere and do something, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey guys, it's Adam here. Good morning, how you doing? Today's adventure, we're going down to Atlanta, Georgia. Now we've actually done that a couple of times. You guys have seen a few videos we did down there, World of Coke, Mary Mac's Tea Room, which we may or may not be doing again, and as well as just other adventures, the aquarium, all that sort of stuff. So what is there else to do in Atlanta that we have not already done? Well, my boy, as you know, Atlanta Dave, is going to come pick me up, and we're actually going to do something that we've kind of hinted at in a couple of videos, but it's almost been like a reoccurring joke that we were never able to do. The Jimmy Carter Presidential Library. We've decided to go down there, check that out, as well as have just kind of the normal Atlanta adventures. And we don't do this for any sort of political motives or anything like that. It's just that at the time we're recording this, it is possible that Jimmy Carter is passed away by the time you see this. He's the 39th president of the United States, and we just thought it'd be kind of an interesting little adventure, because the time I'm recording this, he's still alive and on hospice care. So we thought it'd be interesting not only to go to his library, but we're actually going to go down to Plains, Georgia, the town he's from, and just kind of see what there is to see. So this is kind of a pay our respects to Jimmy Carter, the only living president who served before my lifetime, because once he passes away, every other president has been in my lifetime. And this, again, is not a political thing. Like, I would theoretically do this for any of them, just out of curiosity. I have shown you guys other presidential libraries in the past, and maybe one day we'll kind of go to a bunch of them and just kind of do a whole thing out of that.
I am checked in, and look, there's the security line that, as always, I don't have to stand in. Thank you very much, clear. I think you guys know how this works at this point. So you see this? This is like, the lines are so bad at O'Hare that it's actually news type of thing.
And 10 seconds later, we're through security. I sign up for TSA pre-check, sign up for clear. Please, I'm telling you guys, listen to my poofy hair. I'm on this, I know this. Anyway, so now I'm over in the Seagate, so I have to take a left at the Dinosaur, and then under the Rainbow Bridge, and then onward to the United Club, where I will hang out and lounge and enjoy coffee and free food and stuff for a little bit.
I'm gonna grab some breakfast and some coffee and have a good time. Oh, it's going that way.
We are here back in Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, this is the biggest Delta hub in the world, so flying United in here is a little bizarre, isn't it? So you guys might have noticed in that previous clip, like when I just shot like inside the plane, I was like waving my arm and talking to a guy. It was funny. That dude, like the guy I was sitting next to, thought I was taking a selfie, so he was like trying to photobomb it, not realizing I was filming forward. But then we were cool enough to actually take a selfie together. Super nice guy. Anyway, so now that I'm here, I have a lot of time to kill. It's only like 10 in the morning. Dave doesn't get off work till 5 p.m. So I'm going over to the United Club and just hanging out there all day. And you might be like, well, why didn't you take a later flight? Why didn't you stay home? Because I had two options. Either stay home all day and do nothing, or get here early and hang out in a lounge with free food and drinks all day. What would you do?
So inside the club lounge, we have our biscuits and gravy, and of course eggs with some, I don't know, seasonings, but biscuits and gravy just seems like the most appropriate thing possible. All right, so they have brought out the lunch stuff. We got stir fry stuff here. Probably grab some of that. And then over here we have macaroni and cheese and then baked crispy chicken bites. And on top of that, a minestrone soup, which I will probably not do, but there it is. They brought out the desserts, which I'm not going to touch, but we have oatmeal raisin cookies and we have carrot cake. Good stuff.
It has been a long but fun day here at the United Club at Atlanta, but alas, the fun must end. Now I must go have other type of fun. Dave's almost here. We're going over to Mary Mac's Tea Room, and we're going to meet up with a guy named CrusherBad64, who, he and I are some of the OG, oldest retro gaming YouTubers that have ever existed. We've been in communication for like 14 years and have never met. Tonight we're going to.
Hey, guess who's back?
What's up?
What's up? It's Atlanta Dave. Not just making a cameo, he's actually like in an episode now.
Yeah,
Did you appreciate all the little cameos you had?
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, those were nice.
yeah, nice.
What's up? I'm now joined by Robert, aka CrusherBad64. Go check out his channel. He's OG. He's been doing stuff longer than I have. And of course, Dave. Hello. And we are now back at Mary Mac's Tea Room. Second best fried chicken in the United States. Only to Babe's Chicken in Dallas. I'm sorry, Dave, but even you can admit. You gotta admit it. You know it's true. He knows it's true. So this is the inside of Mary Mac's Tea Room. Best restaurant, one of the best restaurants in Atlanta. Highly recommend it. I've done a whole video on this place. Go watch that. We just have to do this out of tradition. Just to show you guys we aren't presidentially biased here, we do have a George W. Bush signed Time magazine here at Mary Mac's Tea Room as well. And then we've got a Jimmy Carter signed thing. This is a perfect way to start off the whole adventure. So Robert here, aka CrusherBad64, has never been here before, right?
Nope.
First time. So when you're a first timer at Mary Mac's, and you remember this well, they hook you up with this thing called pot liquor, which is like a little soup, and then it comes with the bread that's got like bacon and stuff mixed into it. It also comes with another free bread basket that has regular bread plus like cinnamon rolls and stuff. Pretty good, and it's all free because of this homie right here. All right, our food has arrived. I got my macaroni and cheese. I don't remember the cornbread thing with the goodness on it. I don't remember what it's called. My 3-piece fried chicken. You went all out.
I mean, it's the same thing.
You got more fried chicken though.
I mean, yeah, I did. I haven't eaten basically all day. So.
I did. And you excited about your first time experience here?
Yes.
All right, man, dive in.
I'm really excited for the collard greens. I need some extra vegetables.
Why do you do vegetables at a fried chicken restaurant? What's wrong with you? So we've stepped out of there. Dave is currently in the bathroom, whatever. You already know his opinion. He likes it. I like it. You were the first timer. What'd you think?
I actually thought it was really good. I'll just say this: nothing like going to like a Popeyes or whatever other.
So it's real food.
Yes, it's real food. That's basically what I'm getting at. It's real food.
Highly recommend it. Atlanta staple. Do it. And I'm very happy that I was able to introduce multiple Georgians to it for the first time, despite not being from here at all. Good morning. It is day 2 here in Atlanta. Well, technically we're outside of Atlanta.
Yeah, we are in Dunwoody.
Dunwoody.
Which is like outside of Atlanta.
Anyway, so what are we doing?
We are getting gas. No, we're getting we're at a gas station.
Exotic gas station.
Yeah. We're actually at a place called NFA Burger, which is, in my opinion, one of the best burgers, if not the best burger in this whole city. So.
And you mentioned there's a possibility of waffles as buns.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, that could be exciting. We'll see what happens, but it looks pretty good. I'm trusting you. I trust this man on food. I do. I might regret that. But for now,
don't think you will.
I don't think. Okay, I will trust you. So the cool thing about this place is it's like built into a gas station. So you just kind of stand here and form a line. You order there, and people just kind of hang. It's pretty cool. And so, what, we going out to the car now?
Yeah.
All right, we go to the car and they bring it to us. Burgers have arrived. We got the waffle bun, because you said that was unique, and it's true. I've never seen a waffle bun in it. I've seen donut buns. Those are actually really good. They work really well. And then we got their special sassy fries and their sassy sauce. Are you excited, Mr. Sassy?
Pretty much. I'm very sassy. Yeah.
Yeah. We got the same thing, other than I left the mustard on it.
Yeah.
And what was the one thing we both said no to? That's right. Homie knows what's up. You can always trust the judgment of someone who will not eat a pickle.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I mean, I love it. I've been here before. The waffle bun was a little different. It was very sweet, which I've been basically dieting a little bit, and I'm kind of not used to the sweetness. But I mean, it was pretty strong. But like, you got like a potato bun like you usually get. It's so freaking good.
So it was a Liege waffle. Those are usually kind of covered in sugar, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
With different Belgian style. I thought this was phenomenal. I actually genuinely really want to come back here, try the potato bun just to try it differently, the way it's more traditional. I liked the waffle bun. I've also liked the donut buns as a concept.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. It's a thing where you kind of like look at it, you're like, I don't know if I can get into that concept, but it's actually very good.
I'm glad I tried it though. I mean, I never tried it. So
I like it quite a bit. And the fries, very good. However, they also claim they do tater tots well. Tater tots is one of those things where, like, you're either really good at it or you totally suck at it. And I would argue, like, 90% of the time, most places are, like, lunch cafeteria at school, like, tater tots that are just gross. I would be willing to give them a shot. We possibly, maybe not on this trip, but we'll come back at some point.
Yeah.
And we'll get the normal burger and the tots, and we'll see how that ranks up. The time has finally come. Where are we going?
We are finally, after 2 failed attempts, we're gonna go to the Jimmy Carter Library and Museum at this point.
And hopefully it's actually open. Is that just 2
It should
attempts?
be.
Like, I used to come down here in like 2014 and stuff. I tried to go then. Nope. It was always closed. There's always just some reason I couldn't get to this.
Yeah, first time you came down here, it was the pandemic that was still had it closed. Then second time we came here, I made a mistake and thought it was open on Sunday and it wasn't.
So we're gonna go over there. That's the Presidential Carter Center. This is like the first thing you see. This is where they send out like a lot of like gift cards and post office, and from like my mom would get Christmas cards from this place every year. And there's your Carter Presidential Center. Let's go inside the gift shop, see if we find any cool peanut related things. So out here they have a bunch of Jimmy Carter's books. He's actually written more books than any other president in history. Forgot about this. So Jimmy Carter builds a lot of stuff. So there's an entire book of stuff that Jimmy Carter built. That's really cool. I just would like to point out to the world that there is Jimmy Carter brand ice cream. Thank you. Thank you. For the record, there is of course a peanut-based one, because it would be insane if there wasn't. So here's something really cool that unfortunately we can't partake in. So there's these special passports you can buy at presidential libraries. There's only like 14 presidential libraries. There's not that many of them. And every single one of them will stamp a unique stamp so that you can prove you've been to all of them. We just asked, unfortunately, they're sold out. So when you go beyond the gift shop, the first thing you hit is a movie theater, which is supposed to be playing a movie.
It's not.
Yeah, the movie wasn't working, so they cycled back around. The man from Plains. Plains to politics. bunch of his early childhood stuff. Yeah. You know that he stopped not one, but 2 nuclear disasters. Yeah, he's the man. So beyond like the early years thing and when he's running for president and all that, they have like this whole thing about when he was in the Navy. And I can't stress this enough. Well, before he was president, he was actually like a nuclear engineer. And he like actually stopped like a nuclear catastrophe from happening. Just, I think it was like somewhere in Canada, and he was the only person nearby who like knew anything about how to shut down a nuclear reactor. I don't remember the whole details of the story, but like he straight up like stopped a nuclear disaster. And over here they have a whole big section, of course, about the election history and what they call the Peanut Brigade. And obviously you're going to get a lot of Jimmy Carter president. I think that's hilarious. When he got to Des Moines for the Iowa campaign, only 4 people came out to his campaign. And then like 2 years later, he's president. It's kind of amazing. So this is about, of course, when he was up against President Ford, and the debates and how he would fly around and everything. This is called Peanut One, which, oh, look at that, Dave! Isn't that weird? It's United Airlines. What is it? What is it not? What did he not fly? Which airline was it again? It's from Georgia that I can't break. It's based out of Atlanta. I can't quite remember the name. Delta, right? Oh. He was elected, and it's the inauguration. So he did the whole walk down Pennsylvania Avenue thing, which used to be a thing, but then it kind of stopped because, you know, modern times, especially after what happened to JFK, they just didn't really do that anymore. And he was the man of the people, so he was like, I'm going back to that. And not all the presidents since have done it. I know Biden did it, but I don't think they all did it. But I know Carter kind of restarted that whole thing. But yeah, so then the inauguration speech, and then the formal meeting at the White House with outgoing President Gerald Ford at the time, and then behind us, you know, the inauguration night and that whole big party they do. So they have his inauguration outfit right there, but they actually have it here. That's kind of cool. So inside they have a full replica of the Oval Office with the Resolute desk under the Carter era. So every president gets to kind of redesign it a little bit. It's not as big of a room as you would think. Like how movies portray it, like being way bigger. It's actually very small. So I would love to actually go over there. You said the George W. Bush one.
Yeah, they actually let you sit in the rest of the desk.
That's cool. That the George W. Bush one, but the Carter one, I guess they don't let you do that. But those chairs are epitome of 70s, by the way. But yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Yeah, though, and then one's got that red line. Oh, the buck stops here. Harry Truman put that on there.
Yeah, I think he put it back.
Yeah, because what happens is a lot of this stuff is all, there's like a White House archive area.
I know the rugs are always.
Yeah,
like,
they're constantly swapped out, and every president gets to come in and they can change the curtains. You can't really change the desk that much, but a little bit. But you're allowed to make certain changes to the office, and like they get to pick which statue they want, and it just sits in archives. And then some of them just recycle older presidents' stuff just because they're like, you know, Truman was my favorite, so let me put the buck stops here thing or whatever. Like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So then they have like this whole big room committed to like the actual like 4 years he was in office and everything. There's even a giant Star Wars thing up there. That's cool. All the big events that occurred. Okay, so this is kind of cool. It's a throwback to that passports thing I was talking about. They have presidential libraries, like a little setup for all the presidents that haven't, starting with Herbert Hoover, which I don't think he had anything to do with his own. I think it was built retroactively, but seniority-wise, FDR, because I'm pretty sure Truman was the first one ever to be like, yo, we should actually have like a presidential library. And then you have Dwight Eisenhower. JFK obviously had nothing to do with his own one, but Johnson, Nixon, Ford, and then you've got the Reagan one, George H.W. Bush one, Clinton, and George W. Bush. And the Obama one is, at the time I'm recording this, is just about completed. So that'll be cool. Oh yeah, and for the record, yeah, Jimmy Carter was the one who was trying to end America's occupation of the Panama Canal Zone. And he had promised to do it in the 70s, and that it would eventually happen. And I believe it was finally completed under the Clinton administration. They finally turned it over. If you don't know your Panama Canal history, this little stretch of land, this is all that prevented shipping from going around all this. If you could cut through there, it would be amazing. So the United States eventually got involved and just dug a canal, but then they had to control it so that for shipping purposes, so they would have access to the oceans and all that. And under the Carter administration, they said, well, we'll leave. And under the Clinton administration, they did. They have this really cool portrait there that's just like of Jimmy Carter, but then you look on it, it's all compiled of like different things to make up his person. I think that's really neat. Around here, a big section on diplomatic relations with China. And I guess he must have invited Nixon back to the White House. Nixon famously did very well with the Chinese. National defense policy.
independent partner. I'm not sure what that is, but hey, more stuff.
So here we have a whole thing on the Camp David Accords, which Carter himself refers to as the crown jewel of his presidency, where he basically got a peace deal between Egypt and Israel, who wouldn't even recognize each other's existence. They'd been fighting all these wars. He gets them out there in the Camp David Accords and gets a permanent peace deal that is still in effect to this day. So then they have a whole section on the Iran hostage crisis, which of course, was the Americans at the embassy all held hostage for a year. So the thing that's really screwed up about that, there's a lot of reasons that's screwed up, but he eventually did get them back home, but Reagan took all the credit. So in the final days of his presidency, he did this whole negotiation thing, whatever, and he cut a deal to get them out, but the incoming Reagan administration actually interfered with the deal. And they're like, yes, we want them out, but we want them out like a minute after Reagan is sworn in. And that way it would look like Reagan came in and all of a sudden it was all different. And the Iranians agreed to it because they knew, even though they cut a deal, they're like, we have to deal with Reagan next. It doesn't really matter. So it's kind of sad, but at least they were out, and that was what was important. So this is the list of achievements that they claim credit for. The Department of Energy established, human rights become the foundation of foreign policy, national security interests protected peacefully, more women, African Americans, Hispanics appointed as federal judges than other administrations combined, mental health care advancements, Panama Canal Treaty, the Camp David Accords, deregulation of trucking, railroads, airlines, banks, finance, television, and radio, Egyptian-Israeli peace treaty, the SALT II treaty, which was a nuclear arms thing, diplomatic relations with China normalized, Mental Health and Systems Act, Alaska lands. They really love him. If you go back and watch my Alaska videos, you can see that there's proof of that. Comprehensive energy legislation, Superfund legislation, all American hostages in Iran eventually freed, and legislation that Congress quarterly reported that in 2008 that since 1953, Lyndon Johnson, Jimmy Carter, and John Kennedy were the top 3 presidents in gaining support for their legislative proposals. So now we are in the post-presidency section where you return to planes. I think most people, if they don't know anything about the Carter administration, what do they know about Jimmy Carter?
They know about everything after his administration.
Yes, the greatest post-president of all time, bar none. I talked about this in the Washington, D.C. video. This dude, because of Carter, we have a completely redefined understanding of what a post-president is supposed to do. So for example, so Carter was only a federal government employee for 4 years, and that was the 4 years he was president of the United States. But in order to get any sort of government aid or anything like that, you technically had to work for the federal government for 5 years. So we had a post-president who was borderline homeless when he left the White House. And they were like, you can't have that. That's it's insane. So to Reagan's credit, him and everybody, they kind of got together and they came up with the Post-Presidents Act, which normalized what post-presidents can and cannot do, which is actually one of the reasons Jimmy Carter's written so many books, is because you're not allowed to have a job, you're not allowed to drive a car. There's so many, but you're allowed to make speeches and write books and sort of stuff like that. So he was a self-made man all over again. But he also was continuing to, even now as he's 98, granted he's at this time on hospice care, potentially, hopefully not deceased by the time you see this, he's building people houses, like Habitat for Humanity, that was him, and building people houses, the definitive post-president by far. This is the shovel they used to set the foundation for the Carter Center, which is where we are right now. And to his credit, I saw a documentary on this. I don't remember all the details, but I know the Carter Center was actually having a lot of issues finding funding and finance and all that. And Reagan actually came to his aid and said, we're going to help you out with this. Again, as part of the Post-Presidential Act. And they got this running. And Reagan himself came out here, and he was the one who set up the debut. So very different presidents, but they at least got along, both civilized to each other. In addition to Jimmy Carter building homes and things like that, he eliminated the guinea worm. It's like a horrible disease. Former president did that. That's amazing. So this is really cool. In the 90s, there was this big nuclear buildup thing, an issue with North Korea, as tends to happen. So one thing that post-presidents started doing, and it was actually Carter who pioneered this, is that at the time, the Clinton administration in 94 needed this situation resolved, but they couldn't officially do it. So they sent Bill Clinton, asked Jimmy Carter to go over there, because nobody was going to hurt Jimmy Carter, and negotiate a deal and make some sort of peace out of this. And he, of course, succeeded in doing that. And that became a new staple for what post-presidents can do. They can kind of set these post-negotiations. To be fair, though, that actually happened under the Reagan administration. He had Carter, Ford, and Nixon go do some deal together as well. But yeah, Carter did this one on his own with Clinton's consent. And it's funny because years later, when Obama was in the White House, similar situation happened where North Korea was losing their minds. So he actually sent Bill Clinton over there to fulfill the same role. So you can kind of thank Carter for pioneering that, especially not only then, but the earlier time when Reagan sent him out somewhere. It's like he's the definitive diplomatic post-president. So we don't think this is the exact one, but apparently this is the type of rig that Jimmy Carter used to write his books on. Although the picture depicts a completely different machine, but whatever. Still, more books than any other president. Again, when he's post-president, he went to all these countries, like doing diplomatic missions and peace missions kind of his own accord. So they actually have like, you know, first class seats here, but he also flew coach a lot. The cool thing is you can actually see footage of this online. He just would buy plane tickets and go. And if you see him on flights, he would just shake hands and be like, hey, how you doing? And everybody's like, oh my God, Jimmy Carter's on our flight. And he's like, yeah, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? So these are Jimmy Carter's Presidential Medal of Freedom, but not from himself or a previous president. Later, Bill Clinton would give it to him. I would assume it had something to do with the North Korean thing we were just talking about.
Maybe just it was, you know.
Or it could just be for like a million of the things he did. Yeah. There's Jimmy Carter's Nobel Peace Prize. As far as I know, the only other president that has one, I could definitely be wrong about this. I know Obama has one. I don't know if anybody else does, but those two do. That's cool. Well, that was one I wasn't expecting. Jimmy Carter has a Grammy Award for his audiobook of one of his books. That's amazing. So, you know, combine that here, you go to the World of Coke and they have an Academy Award for Gandhi. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah. So just outside the Presidential Center, if you walk up here and up here, you will see this, a really cool bust of President Jimmy Carter, which is kind of interesting because there aren't a whole lot of busts of him because I guess he was kind of against the whole idolization thing, but we worship you, Jimmy. No, for real, it's just a cool statue. So we're taking a break from all the presidential stuff. You'll get more of that very soon. But it's dinner time, and we decided to do something that usually I would not authorize, but I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Sure.
Where are we going?
Looks like, Sushi.
Kura Sushi. If you guys watch the Japanese videos, I went here all the time in the Japanese ones. Now there, I don't know what pricing are going to be like here. In Japan, it's Japan. So it's like you have more options for less money than we're going to have here. I'm not expecting greatness, but I do like sushi. And I think it would be cool just as a novelty just to try the American version of the same chain. You excited? Yeah. So admittedly, inside, very similar. The concepts, you know, you can choose the language too. You can even probably switch it to Japanese if you want to. Yeah. And you just pick stuff, take it, you can order whatever you want, it comes to you. So we're now leaving Kura Sushi. I'll give my opinion and say you go first.
Yeah, so I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but like, you know, I think the thing that we kind of talked about is that $3 a plate doesn't sound like a lot until you actually start eating, and you eat 10 plates is for the $3.40 plate is like $36
plus the tip. Plus, we don't know. I
don't even know if we get the tip.
We did tip, but I don't know why you tip at a restaurant that has no.
I just felt like, you know, if I'd be an to not do that. You know?
So
it's like,
obviously, I have the Japanese perspective on this because I've only ever had Japanese ones. It's like 50 cents a plate in Japan. So you eat like 20 plates, it's, you know, it's like $10. It's like, it's so much better. And they don't allow tipping there. It's like really frowned upon to do that. So it's infinitely cheaper with more options. This was, in terms of food quality, was fine. I got no complaints with that. It's really just like, and I'm spoiled, I recognize that.
You're right.
But yeah, but like when you went to the actual Japanese ones, this is just like, you just feel like you're getting ripped off because you essentially are. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, no, it was good food.
It's cool to do. Like you're just you got a buddy like I do right now. We just hang out and just it's a cool thing. We both lost at the capsule thing, by the way.
Yeah, we did, which you guys saw. But at the same time, let's put this out there. Mary Mac's, which was like a very fancy, very nice special fried chicken dinner.
It's like $14.
It was like $14 each.
Yeah.
This was like $40 a piece. I'm just saying, like, this is fast food essentially. So yeah, you're gonna do this. You do this in Japan. You don't do this in the U.S.
Yeah.
Basically what I'm saying.
And that'll do it for part one. Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure through Atlanta and the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library. But stay tuned. There will be a part two in which we're going down to Plains, Georgia, the home of Jimmy Carter, where we're going to check out all the stuff there is down there. And hopefully in the future we can do this with more presidents because I think this was a lot of fun. But anyway, if you guys can do me a favor, please like this video, comment down below, subscribe if you've never done that before, as well as check out all the social media stuff in the description: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Patreon, etc. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all later.